Hi, coaches. We know that NLP is the study of success. We know that we can use the NLP tools to help a client build their wealth and their business. We can use the tools to help them create better, lasting relationships. And we can use NLP to help somebody boost their immune system to come back to really good, energetic health. I love working with wellness practitioners because when you understand how to blend NLP with the tools in the healing industry, like things can change really quickly. Anytime that a client is demonstrating health issues, be it anxiety, stress, even cancer, the body is telling us that they are out of alignment. They are telling us that there is some level of limitation that is coming up to be addressed. And as NLP practitioners or NLP master practitioners, when you know how to look out for that strategy, when you know what to look for, you also know how to intercept to be able to bring in that higher opportunity for that client to come back into alignment, to feel into that sense of health and vitality. And yeah, from my own experience working with people, I think about clients who've come to me with, tumors or health issues, autoimmune issues. That's all of the body speaking about levels of anger, frustration, trauma, chaos, stress that is sitting there underneath the surface. And it is just sort of like festered into an illness. When you think about somebody who's got like reoccurring sore throats, there's that constant like attraction into create that virus that diminishes their immune system. We know as NLP people that we can go in and have a look at, the voices about speaking up. So what is causing them to suppress their truth? When did they decide it wasn't safe to express themselves? And what is the body doing to highlight that this is still an issue waiting to be resolved, waiting to be learnt from, so that the unconscious mind can release the grip and for that voice to just come back easily, effortlessly, and that trust in that client to be able to speak their truth, head held high. And it's like, yep, this is who I am, take it or leave it. Like, oh, so exciting. So what I'm going to show you here is the map of the filters of the mind. As NLP people that we are taking in information from the outside world through our five senses. We're seeing things, hearing things, feeling things, smelling things, tasting things. And as that moves into our body, what we're doing is we're creating that internal representation. Now, before I get too far ahead, when you think about somebody who, yeah, is creating an illness, it's sort of like, well, how does this move through the filters of the mind? Let's say that we've got somebody, I'll follow through with the sore throat thing. Let's say that we've got somebody who in their childhood had rocked up to school on their very first day and they're feeling sort of a bit meek and a bit mild, and maybe mum's even anxious too. What happens then is as they move through their experience, that their mind will start to delete and distort and generalize about the truth in how to speak up, in being able to get their needs met, in being able to know how to get that sense of security. All it will take in is just the loudness, the overwhelm, and the limitations. And so that starts to build those memories that being at somewhere like school can be quite difficult, to use a lot of willpower, to generate a lot of anxiety to just get through the day for that little one. Now, at that level, a lot of those limitations are created that get reinforced day after day, until such a point that somebody comes in and starts to help them question their limitations and to be able to bring in new resources. At a primary school age, obviously we can bring in new resources and helpers and teachers and parents and all the things. But the truth is that that limitation, that first experience of overwhelm of walking into the school gates, letting go of mum's hand to now do this by herself, I've seen this in clients. It creates a limitation that they're not safe in this world. And so they make themselves small, they make themselves as a grown up, start to people please, so that, please be nice to me if I give and do and help, like just please be my friend instead of all of the noise. And that constant giving, 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 giving can create burnout. That constant need to be significant and give can create a level of adrenal fatigue. And it's like with NLP, we can go back and shift that limitation all the way back to that root cause of when they decided that being out in the world was a bit scary. The body will go, right, it's not a problem anymore, and release the fear, release the limitations, release all of that heavy energy. It's quite remarkable. So I should have. So I want to go on to the next slide here. Let's use a different example. Somebody who's got, skin issues, whether that's pimples or a rash or psoriasis or shingles or something like that, even as a grown up, I'm still going to come back to that childhood example. So maybe a child is in that tense environment with their parents, or maybe they see their dad arguing or yelling with a neighbor or something of that nature. And they take in that information that, oh my gosh, the external environment, it feels tense, it looks scary. And from there, that's when the filters of the mind will delete, distort, and generalize. What it's deleting in this example is the option to leave, to run away, to say no, to say stop. And what it does is it also generalizes to the point of like, what can I do to be able to create safety in my environment right now? Does that mean I need to people please? Does that mean I need to make myself small? Does that mean I need to like psychically scan the room? What is the potential threat here? That's what's happening there at that delete, distort, and generalize. We're deleting the options of what you can do to have safety and generalizing other things that ensure your survival. Then the next thing happens at that skin level is it moves through, or the skin level, the skin example, it moves through the filters of the mind, where the mind starts to put meanings to situations. The beliefs get created, and it's like I can't express my needs. It's not safe to be with people that I rely on, that I can't trust the support that's around me. I don't feel safe at home. Whatever the belief is, will start to generate and create an anchor in as somebody's reality. Like, yeah, I can't trust support. Then what happens with that person is the body starts to respond to that. Every time that person needs to get its needs met, this is the trigger that comes to mind. This is the trigger that stands out to say, like, I need my needs met. Who can I trust? Who can I speak to? What can I do, give, to be able to get them to be nice to me so I can get that support that I need. And again, so this is all generating that stress all the way back from childhood stuff because it still hasn't been addressed. And so then the skin will start to show itself. It'll start to show the caregivers or people around them, I am not coping. Please be gentle with me. Please consider my needs. So instead of using the voice, the skin will start to demonstrate that to the grown-ups or to the people around you. I'm not coping. Would you please be gentle? Knowing that the skin is the barrier between you and the outside world, the skin is looking after that precious energy, that precious temple of who you are in a harsh world if that's how you perceive it. So that skin is going to do whatever it can to keep the harshness away. You think about it, if you're on I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you think about being like on an aeroplane and, we sit there, our elbows outline our territory. This is my space, that is your space. If somebody happened to have a rash on their elbows, our natural instincts is to actually move away from any hint of possibly getting sick. So even on an aeroplane, if you saw somebody with a rash on their elbows, you would not want to touch that unless you knew the person. So that's my quick example there of how the skin will start to highlight the limitations from the childhood or from triggers of the past, where it is trying to talk to you. It is trying to tell you that the limitations and the beliefs that you took on when you were little are now limiting and they're no longer true. My last point on that one within skin is within the quantum biology, we know that the cells rejuvenate and replenish and come back uh, yeah, regenerate themselves every 7 years. Every 7 years, your body is like not who you were 7 years ago. So the soft tissue is a lot less time than that. And the skin, if I'm correct, is the skin will rejuvenate itself every 3 to 4 weeks. You have new skin every 3 to 4 weeks. So how come you've still got the rash that you had last year or the rash that you had when you were growing up? Like, that doesn't make any sense. What does make sense is that the belief that you're not safe in this world is is the stressful chemicals, is what's happening with the hormones to be able to generate that rush, because the limitation in the mind and the belief is functioning that way to say we need to shift this. This is old, outdated programming. Now, as NLP coaches, master practitioners, we can work on any one of these levels. And I've tried and I've tested it, and I've only ever got evidence that you can work on any one of these levels to be able to get the body to release the stress, release the limiting point of view, to release the limiting beliefs or decisions and values, so that instead of willpower to push through and be safe in this world, the person actually just trusts it and has that sense of confidence and the knowing that they're safe in this world. Anything that they feared when they were growing up is not actually there anymore. As a grown up, they have the ability to make those shifts, to step into that confidence and to, operate with their head held high, doing things that is in alignment to who they are. Absolutely fascinating. I know that I've worked with clients who've had ongoing constant pimples. And when you look at the pimples, especially on the jawline, the jaw, think about like the facade of like a security guard. They often have very masculine projected energy of security. Like there's a real sense of authority in that. The body knows it. That's why it's created in that way. So if you're a woman who's getting pimples all along the jawline where there's that masculine energy flowing through, you can assume or look at the limitations in being either angry at being in the feminine or angry in at not feeling safe in this world. So you have to protrude that energy. All of these things can get looked at to be able to identify what is going on within the skin, within the pimples, within the health, where you've made some limiting decision. And so the body is now showing up to be able to protect you from that limited point of view. Again, I've worked with clients with that and like years and years and years of dermatologists and all the things. And then very quickly, a couple of sessions, the pimples go away, their glowing skin comes in, and it's sort of like, wow, how can this get any better? As NLP practitioners and master practitioners, we know that we have a whole list in our toolkit to be able to work at the different filters of the mind. We can work on shifting somebody's limiting beliefs. We can work on shifting somebody's values or somebody's strategy on how they feel safe in this world. There are so many tools. I mean, that's just a quick example. And so going back to, okay, how does illness and disease or health problems get created? We do get exposed to something in the external environment. We have a thought about it, we put a meaning to it. Our body responds accordingly to that meaning, and then therefore the stress comes up or not, and therefore the health gets impacted. Chronic illness is going to be that ongoing limitations and more evidence. The unconscious mind likes to prove that your limitations are correct. So if you believe that if you believe that it's hard to make money because that's what dad said, that's what dad's evidence was, if you believe that, the unconscious mind will invite and draw in more opportunities to be right. That's its part of its function, ensuring the survival. What we know to be familiar is true. And so if you've got that limitation just playing out over and over and over again, then that then yeah, then it's built up to be this chronic illness. Quickly on that skin situation, this could be somebody like that has, been out in the sun, they've attracted in being out in the sun, got that mole, the mole has then, been has then turned more not good. And then that not goodness has then developed into another health problem and another health problem until at such point somebody may get something like skin cancer or something. And then that could then spread further on into their system. And the question is, what was going on within the limitations of the skin message for that limitation, that weak link in the chain to create the illness? When I'm working with somebody with health conditions, I'm going to first obviously acknowledge the health problem and how do you feel. I'm also going to look at what was going on in their life when they first became sick. I'm going to look at what effects it's having on in their day-to-day life, like what triggers it. Thinking of like an allergy, what triggers the allergy or what makes it worse, what makes it better. And it's the same with with anxiety, what triggers the anxiety, what makes it worse, what makes it better. And I'm going to also look at what is the benefit of holding on to that sickness. That might sound completely nuts, but if somebody's constantly getting headaches, then that may be serving them to be able to get out of work, get the doctor's note, get out of work or get out of school. If somebody's constantly getting headaches or fatigue or something of that nature, migraines, then there is a possibility that it's easier to tell people, like, I can't come to the party, I've got a headache, or I can't do that family thing because I've got a headache. And people won't tend to argue with that limitation. They're like, oh, okay, Sarah's got a headache again. But if that client had actually said, I've got to trust myself here and say, I'm really uncomfortable in your company, this is not working for me, and have the difficult conversation, have the resources and the strength within them to be able to communicate their needs, then instead of manifesting in a headache or an illness, they're now manifesting in something that's within alignment to their values of having, a wonderful time or not doing that anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're feeling obligated to go or do those things and you don't have a way out, your body will create the way out for you if you so desire. So then the next things that I'm going to be looking at with that client, well, what will happen if you're completely well or when you're completely well? What will you miss out on if you continue to stay sick? How hard do things have to get before you ask for help? If you did not have the discomfort, what would you be doing instead? And I will ask a client to be the headache. What's its role? What's its function? How is it helping you? You've manifested it for a reason. It's trying to tell you something, or it's trying to tell your caregivers or loved ones something. And so, what's its higher purpose? Because, truth be told, your body wants to be in alignment. It doesn't want to be unwell. But if it perceives that there's an outside threat, it will do and generate and create whatever it can to keep you safe by taking you out of the game and by creating some level of illness. In my NLP practitioner training, we often talk about anxiety and we talk about how do people do anxiety. Not that they have it, that it's attached to their identity, but how do you do anxiety? Do you do anxiety with, headaches, a tight stomach, shortness of breath? How do you do anxiety? And when you can limit it down or bring that strategy down to that one key component, then you can actually work out what is the body telling you, because we're not looking at all the things, we're looking at that one message. Somebody who does anxiety with stomach problems, we know that the stomach is holding on to things like shame. We know that if somebody's holding on to anxiety in the breath, that's our self-worth. You can't breathe in everything that you need to breathe to survive. Like there's a self-worth, self-preservation thing. And if you're getting anxiety, headaches, then the mind is all about the control panel of how to operate in this world. So what's going on with the perception of lack of control? I love this stuff. This stuff. The last one there that I didn't mention was like the do you do anxiety by, I know I said the shortness of breath, but like that kick in the guts kind of feeling, and that diaphragm, that's where we hold on to fear. So with NLP tools, we can now resolve the fear or the shame or the lack of control so that the client operates with a sense of confidence. The body doesn't need to do the illness anymore. Love this stuff. The results that you get with clients are just breathtaking and life changing. You often see that in the cliche NLP world, like this is life changing, transform your life. But it really does. It really does. If you had a lifetime of allergies or being sick or anxious or depressed, you can resolve that stuff very easily when you're working with somebody who knows how to speak the language of your body. Fabulous, fabulous stuff. I'm Claire Chancellor from Be Your Purpose Coaching. If you want to join me in my next NLP practitioner, the link's below, and I look forward to talking to you later. Bye, guys.